Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news, a large police presence on South Saunders Street in Raleigh. This is a live look at the scene right now. The new information we've just learned from police.
And it's a mild start this morning. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s. We'll talk more about the warm temperatures and how long they'll last.
Bullying policy backlash. Today, the proposed changes Johnson County school leaders are considering and why some families are upset about it.
And hoping for a win. Everything you need to know about today's matchups for UNC and Duke in the ACC tournament quarterfinals. A lot of people excited to see how that turns out. Of course, we dive into that a little bit here on WRAL News. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Lovingood in for Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Great to have you with us on this Thursday as we edge closer to Friday. It is Friday Eve. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner joining us now with a look outside and a cool start, but it's going to warm up again.
And we're going to see another really nice day like yesterday. I imagine that Cary Park was very busy yesterday, as well as all the parks. So many people outside trying to enjoy this beautiful weather. It's going to be another great place to be today. We still have a southwest wind at around 5 miles per hour, but it's a good bit warmer than it was this time yesterday. Yesterday, of course, we made it into the 80s in most places, so we had a lot of warm air in place. We'll continue to see temperatures fall a little bit. It's in the 40s in Roxborough. It's 42 right now in South Hill, 55 Southern Pines, 53 Goldsboro. With clear skies, these temperatures will likely fall on into the upper 40s. But take a look at the winds, and winds are at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. We still are going to have a bit of fire danger again today, like we did yesterday. And temperatures will be nice and warm. We'll make it to almost 80 degrees. Yesterday, we were in the low 80s. We do still have the potential for some severe storms on Sunday. I'll walk you through that threat and the timeline coming up.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Breaking news. Right now, there is a large police presence in the area of I-40 and South Saunders Street in South Raleigh. Within the last 5 minutes, we've learned at least one person is in custody. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey just got there to the scene in the last 15 minutes. Kelsey, what are you seeing there?
Renee, we have new information from Raleigh police in the last 5 minutes. They say they're helping Garner police with this investigation. At least one person is in custody right now. And we know that Raleigh police are helping Garner police search for suspects now after a crash. So you can see this huge police presence here on 40 and South Saunders Street. So dozens of police cars are lining the street. So several of them are parked outside of this Red Roof Inn here. You may be familiar with this if you know where this is on South Saunders Street, but there's even more of a police presence behind the inn. So we are working to find out some more information. We know that there was a crash that was on the on-ramp to 40 from South Saunders Street. It was just one black car that we saw there. So we're trying to find out how many people were in the car and whether anyone was injured. But right now we're asking police if that crash was a result of a chase. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
This morning, school leaders in Johnston County plan to discuss a change to their harassment and bullying policy. They have changed. The change involves the removal of the terms sexual orientation and gender identity. Advocates who spoke at Tuesday night's board meeting say the changes could be dangerous for some children and staff. The board chair says they postponed a decision so the district could make sure that what they're doing is correct. We'll update you on the outcome of that morning's meeting.
Today, the state Senate is expected to debate a bill that could bail out Duke Energy from its requirements on carbon emissions. The lawmakers behind it say Duke Energy needs more flexibility to generate more energy. The bill eliminates the 2030 carbon reduction goal for utility companies. The bill would also expand Duke Energy's ability to start charging customers for new power plants while they're still being built to spread out construction costs. Some lawmakers worry it would force customers to pay for projects that could be delayed or never finished.
A Hope Mills family is asking for justice after a 19-year-old woman was shot and killed. Doorbell camera video captured the gunshots that killed Nyasia Blue. You can just hear how many rounds were fired. The house was left covered in bullet holes and shattered glass, and police are searching for a dark-colored SUV in connection with the shooting. Blue's mother is demanding justice for her daughter and to know why this happened.
Why would you do that to anybody's home that don't bother nobody?
Blue was a child care worker. The center where she worked was closed for the day yesterday to honor her. Hope Mills police are asking for any tips that could lead to justice for her family.
Another blow to the U.S. economy. The deadline to avoid a government shutdown is approaching with no resolution from Congress. House Republicans have passed a continuing resolution, but it needs Democratic support to clear the Senate. And to make that happen, Democrats are asking for concessions to rein in spending cuts by DOJ. So far, Republicans are refusing to support the plan. Lawmakers have until the end of day tomorrow to reach an agreement.
Steel and aluminum tariffs are in effect on imports from all countries. So far, America's top trading partners, Canada, Mexico, and China, have been the target of President Trump's tariffs. The import tax on steel and aluminum are the first of Trump's second terms that have been applied to all countries. Some American steel mill owners hope this means governments will choose local metals, and that's because now their prices can be more competitive. Meanwhile, Walmart is feeling pressure from both sides of the trade war. The retail giant is reportedly working with its Chinese suppliers on price cuts to offset Trump's tariffs.
There is some relief in the egg market, but it's not expected to last for long. The U.S. Department of Agriculture released a market report yesterday. It shows the price that retailers pay for eggs fell by 15% in the first week of March to $6.85 a dozen. It's a sign that the prices shoppers pay could fall at grocery stores. But any relief will likely be short-lived. Prices are expected to spike again as Easter and Passover will bring a renewed demand for eggs. A family of 7 lost their home in a fire in Sampson County. This is video taken by the WRAL breaking news tracker of the scene on Hood Lane. According to the assistant fire chief from the Taylor Bridge Fire Department, it took several departments nearly an hour to put out the flames. WRAL spoke to the homeowner. He says an egg incubator on the front porch of the mobile home started the fire. His wife and 2 of his sons were home. Everyone was able to make it out safely with only minor injuries.
She called for my son, and they told me the house started fire, and I worry. Really, I'll be honest. The house, I'm not care. I care about my boys, with my baby, with my big boy.
The official cause of the fire is still under investigation. A family member has started a GoFundMe to support this family of 7. Visit WRAL.com to find out more.
Today, both Duke and UNC play in the quarterfinals of the ACC tournament. Number 1 seed Duke is playing Georgia Tech at noon, and then after that, UNC will face Wake Forest at 2:30. The team that loses will likely not be in the NCAA tournament. WRAL's Pat Welter spoke with the star of yesterday's win for North Carolina, Jalen Withers.
It's a long shot, but UNC one step closer to punching their ticket to the NCAA tournament.
They win!
Jalen Withers went absolutely nuclear in a 76-56 win over Notre Dame.
It's kind of exhilarating, like, being in my hometown.
Career high 21 points and a UNC ACC tournament record 7 made threes.
Having a pretty good night like that, I think that's, something that anybody would really want.
Tar Heels play Wake Forest today at 2:30, but first the Duke Blue Devils look to parlay their regular season title into a tournament one.
And Flagg just drove it about 40 feet.
22-point favorites over Georgia Tech at noon. Cooper Flagg and company, the heavy favorites here in Charlotte. If UNC is going to make the NCAA tournament, a win over Duke might just be enough. The Tar Heels I talked to feel like they have what it takes to win the whole thing here in Charlotte. Seth Trimble called Wake Forest a get-back game for a 1-point loss earlier this season. Pat Welter, WRAL Sports, Charlotte.
And we will have team coverage from the ACC tournament in Charlotte all week long. Chris Lee, Pat Welter, and Brian Murphy will bring you that coverage. They're here on WRAL News.
Governor Josh Stein focused on Helene recovery and school funding in his first address to North Carolinians. The governor also focused on efforts toward bipartisanship. Stein urged lawmakers to pass the Helene funding bill, a bill banning cell phones in schools, and a $4 billion school construction bond. The governor's calls for unity were cooled by the official Republican response, which focused more on national issues.
But we do not need to be pulled into those political games. We can create something better, something forward-looking right here in North Carolina, and we can do it together.
If North Carolina Democrats want to continue the same old failed policies of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, policies that left our borders open to criminal illegal aliens, sent inflation soaring, and allowed grown men to compete in women's sports. We won't stand for it.
State House Speaker Destin Hall says he looks forward to working with Stein to get Helene survivors back in their homes. Right now, the $500 million Helene recovery bill is stalled as lawmakers debate how the money should be spent.
Your time is 4:40. Growing support. Demands are growing for the release of a former Columbia University graduate student arrested by ICE, while his attorneys say his detention is an attack on free speech.
Still stuck in space. Why the mission to bring these two NASA astronauts who are stranded on the International Space Station home is being delayed again.
And we want to give you a live look at Franklinton this morning. You know what? It's cool outside this morning, at least to start, but things will warm up by the afternoon. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is tracking some rain for the weekend, and she'll tell us about the timing of that system.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
4:44 on a very comfortable morning. Right now it's 51 in Wilson, 58 in Durham, and 51 degrees in Fayetteville. Today's going to feel very much like yesterday with one difference. We're going to see a bit more cloud cover. And so instead of climbing into the 80s, we're going to keep it probably in the upper 70s. But still going to be a little breezy. The whirligigs are spinning lightly. We still have high fire danger again today, and we'll see it again tomorrow too until we can get some rain in here. We just have very dry conditions, a little bit of a breeze, and fires will spread quickly. It's 45 in Roxborough, 51 in Fayetteville, 52 in Garner, 55 in Cary. So it's a little warmer than it was this time yesterday, but still you might want a light jacket as you're walking the dogs this morning with temperatures in the 50s, and we do climb to almost 80 again this afternoon. Watching Sunday carefully, we'll talk about our potential for severe storms.
A federal judge in New York ordered pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil should be allowed more access to his attorneys. In court yesterday, his team argued their ability to speak with him was severely limited. The judge extended a block on his deportation, and that allows Khalil to remain in the U.S. until at least next week. He's being held in Louisiana. Supporters of the Columbia graduate student, including actress Susan Sarandon, gathered outside the courtroom.
Freedom of speech is an issue, is a right that we all have, and this is a turning point in the history and the freedom of this country.
Khalil is a legal permanent resident who was arrested over the weekend, and his attorney says immigration authorities arrested him and claimed they were acting on a State Department order to revoke his green card. Khalil's arrest comes after he helped lead Colombia's student protest movement demanding a ceasefire in Gaza.
Law enforcement responded to reports of a possibly armed person at a California children's hospital. This was the scene last night at the Loma Linda University Children's Hospital in San Bernardino. Authorities say a man called a non-emergency line saying that he was hearing voices in his head and that he wanted to kill people. He then said that he was armed and was entering the hospital. Patients had to shelter in their rooms as police worked to clear the facility. Fortunately, no gunshots were heard and there were no reports of any injuries. No word on any arrests at this time.
Texas Tech University will be closed for the rest of the week after an explosion on campus prompted evacuations. Officials say that an explosion at a substation in the city of Lubbock caused power outages on campus, and video of that scene showed bright green and yellow flames just shooting out from a manhole cover. But no injuries were reported, though portions of the campus were again evacuated.
Authorities say a medical emergency was the cause of a multi-vehicle crash involving a Wake County schools bus. It happened on the exit ramp of I-40 East to Rock Quarry Road just before 5 Tuesday afternoon. Police say the bus driver could not hit the brakes and hit a car, which hit another car, which hit a pickup truck. The car that was hit by the bus went off the road into an embankment. That driver was taken to the hospital. The other drivers involved were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No children were on the bus at the time of the crash. No charges have been filed. An office that helps minority veterans has been eliminated by the Department of Veterans Affairs. A VA spokesperson says the Office of Equity Assurance is, quote, no longer needed. The office helped minority veterans with disparities in how the government provides benefits, and it was created under President Biden as part of the VA's Veterans Benefits Administration. The move has drawn criticism from some lawmakers and veterans.
The mission to bring two NASA astronauts home from space was scrubbed again last night. Concerns over a critical hydraulic system popped up less than 4 hours before the Falcon rocket was set to lift from the Kennedy Space Center. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams have been on the ISS for nearly 9 months, and they were only supposed to be there for 10 days. But they were stranded because of problems with the capsule that took them there. SpaceX may try to launch again tomorrow.
It is 4:48. Let's get a check of our glorious weather with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. And need a jacket this morning, but this afternoon is still going to be very nice.
It is very similar to yesterday. We take a live look at Raleigh right now, and skies are clear currently, but we will see some increasing clouds later today. No rain with that. Our next chance of rain will come late Saturday into Sunday. It's 58 degrees currently, so it's a lot warmer than it was this time yesterday, as temperatures were about 10 degrees cooler than this. But I'm feeling comfortable this morning. It is in the 40s in Southfield, 41, 45 in Roxborough, 51 in Rocky Mount, and 51 in Fayetteville. These temperatures in a lot of places will drop into the upper 40s. So again, feeling pleasantly cool around the Triangle. It's 50 in Holly Springs, 52 in Garner. It's 55 in Cary, 50 in Wake Forest, and 47 degrees in Clayton. Around town today, temperatures right there in the upper 70s to low 80s with increasing cloud cover. We're still going to see a fairly strong wind out of the southwest at about 10 to 15. And of course, that means we'll have that high fire danger again. We're nice and sunny this morning all the way up until around lunchtime. And then you can start to see some cloud cover that lifts across the area. Futurecast shows a little sprinkle that shows up, but I really don't think we're going to see much rain, but it just may feel a little cloudier than it did yesterday. Our temperatures still remain warm. Highs in the upper 70s for this afternoon. We'll be mid-70s on Friday, 82 on Saturday. That 82 on Saturday may sound great. We hit 83 yesterday, but we are likely to have a little bit of rain, and we're going to go into that coming up in just a little while. Our hour-by-hour wind gusts today, anywhere from 5 to 15. It's going to be pretty erratic during the day with those gusty winds, and of course, so that brings us again a high fire danger today. So you want to put off any outdoor burning again for a couple more days. Still can't wait for tomorrow morning for the lunar eclipse. It begins right around 1 o'clock in the morning, and it moves into entirety at about 2:26, and then it's over at about 4:45 or so. So it's going to be great to see for those of us who actually will be up at that hour, which is most of us in this room. A little bit of cloud cover for tomorrow in our northern counties, but most of us should have a pretty good look at that. Watching the potential for some late day showers on Saturday, and then the threat for severe weather on Sunday. We'll talk more about that coming up.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Unwelcome guest. A man in Florida found a wild animal in his home.
I'm like, is that really an alligator in my living room or in the kitchen area here?
It's kind of Florida-ish, though. Not really breaking news, but how that gator was able to even get inside the home.
And countdown to Dreamville, when you'll be able to see this year's festival lineup. Living in Florida can have its quirks, as one couple in Fort Myers found out. They had to deal with getting an alligator out of their home. Instead of doing his normal routine Sunday morning, Paul Quinn was faced with staring down an alligator in his living room.
I'm like, is that really an alligator in my living room or in the kitchen area here? And then he saw me and he started running. I'm like, oh crap, I got to deal with this today?
Quinn was by himself at the time. He called 911 and waited 50 minutes for wildlife control to arrive and remove the gator. Experts say that the alligator busted through a screen door to get inside.
Here in North Carolina, we may think that's strange, but in Florida, it's just called Wednesday. All right, time for movie news. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
These go to 11 and beyond. The first teaser trailer is out for Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer return in the comic rockumentary sequel in theaters in September.
I think there was just this mutual trust between us. And
Sadie Sink is joining the Spider-Verse. The actress best known for Stranger Things and The Whale is set to appear in the 4th Spider-Man movie. No word what role she'll play in the film, which is due in theaters July 31st, 2026.
I'm just blessed. I'm lucky.
Tiger Woods is getting the biopic treatment. Amazon MGM is developing a movie based on Kevin Cook's book, The Tiger Slam, the inside story of the greatest golf ever played. It's expected expected to focus on how the iconic golfer won 4 consecutive major championships, a feat now known as the Tiger Slam. Teeing it up in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The Dreamville lineup is expected to drop next week, and the festival posted a video online with the caption, Lineup 317. Dreamville Festival will hold its 5th and final event on April 5th and 6th. General admission tickets, they're still available.
Lisa Vanderpump is taking over a hotel on the Las Vegas Strip. The reality TV star announced she is partnering with Caesars Entertainment to overhaul the Cromwell. That's a boutique hotel located in the center of the Strip. By early next year, it will be turned into the Vanderpump Hotel. This is her first foray into hotels. It expands her presence on the Strip, which includes restaurants and lounges.
Your time is 4:56. Major milestone. An update on the Pope's health as today marks the 12th anniversary of his election to that role.
Person of interest, who investigators are looking at as today marks 1 week since a college student disappeared while on a spring break trip.
And whooping cough warning. What health leaders are saying about the increase of cases in North Carolina and if this means an outbreak is coming.